All right, welcome back to the show, y'all. This is the portion of the show where we show you a black screen. There we go. We're going to be listening to the submissions that we had for the HSS Song Contest, the August edition of the Song Contest. And it's good to see some familiar faces in here. We have Micah, Zave, Michael R., Tim Consley. We have Mark George. We also have some individuals I haven't seen in here in a while. Scott KC2CAD. We got Jinnel, Sony. We have got Shubham Sahu. Probably just butchered that name, sorry. And Andy Land, I think, is still in here. So thank you all, by the way, for showing up. Marcel Walden has just showed up. He's a rock star, by the way. Thank you guys for showing up. Appreciate it. And today we're going to get into listening to the song submissions. If this is your first time here, just want to let you know that this channel exists to simplify the complexities of the home studio and to help you make professional sounding music in a less than professional space. The motto around here is that you can dream alone, you can create alone, but together we can achieve so much more. I do apologize for the stuttering of the coffee cam as well. That never used to happen until a recent update. So I'm not sure what I got to do to fix that, but the audio has a tendency to stutter on that for some reason. Let's give a big shout out to these chart toppers. These are individuals who are just rocking the channel, keeping it going. James Sheets, Pirate Beats, Zave Ryan, VST404, Mark George, and a whole slew of other people who have made their way on this list. You guys rock. Thank you so much. If you see a number on the left-hand side in the black, that is what they have donated through the generous super chat feature, which is like a small S-looking type icon at the bottom of your chat right now. Anyone who uses that will instantly get a free gift from me when the stream is over, and it just helps to support the channel, and that's in any amount that you feel like you would like to give. There are some of those over here on the left hand as well who have a Patreon logo next to their name. And that denotes the fact that they are Patreon members, so they actually donate monthly through that as well. And if you are a Patreon member, you have access to all kinds of cool stuff that not everyone else has access to. All right, so let's dive right into these song submissions. It looks like I've got some concerns here in the chat. Micah tells me that the bitrate audio keeps peeping. Not sure what that means. Peeping Tom, peeping. What's it doing? I'm assuming that he means it keeps peaking. I don't know. Oh yeah. Whether the coffee cam music is working or not, the coffee is still amazing. So we had a whopping 10 submissions, actually 9 submissions. One of these has to be deleted. And that would be this one. Okay, so a total of 9 submissions, because if you remember correctly, I had said that the this time around we could only submit 1 song, and Audio Surgeon actually submitted 2, and then he got back with me and said, just delete the first one. The second one is the one that I really wanted to submit. So we're going to be listening to Audio Surgeon's song first. This song is called Mysterious Observances. By the way, for those of you who have showed up, there has been an upsurge here lately of individuals who have been stopping by the channel and just saying thank you for the videos and stuff like that. So thank you all so much for going back to the playlists and checking out the older videos and finding value in those as well. I do realize that I haven't put out a static tutorial in a while. There's tons of reasons for that. If you follow the channel, you know why. But we will still continue to do these live streams like this. I prefer, to be honest, just anymore, I prefer this live setting over the static tutorials. I still will be releasing them from time to time, but not as often as before. I would much rather do a live tutorial for you so I can walk you through something right then. All right. So with all that being said, once again, thank you all for showing up. Let's go ahead and dive into some of these songs. What we typically do on the channel whenever we go through these is we're going to listen to the whole song all the way through, and then I'm going to give sort of a critique on what I might do to make that song better, or that mix better. So this could be anything from arrangement. It could be just like, most of the time it's usually like mix wise, because I really don't like to tell people how to arrange their music. I don't know. It just seems kind of, it's already a precious thing. You know, you're bearing your soul, you're putting it out of there for other people to see, and you've put a lot of hard work into it. And so the last thing I want to tell you is that you need to put more work into it. But what I can tell you is how to get your sounds better, and then you can go from there and, you know, adjust your arrangement, stuff like that. So, all right, so let's listen to this first song. I'm going to take my mug off the screen here. There we go. And we are just going to listen to this first song together. This is, yet again, this is by Audio Surgeon. And the song title is Mysterious Observances. All right, let's check it out. Okay, wow. That was a very, very well put together piece. I really liked it. The movement of it, the feeling, the vibe of it. Um, was there some things that I think was lacking a little bit? But to be honest, the mix really didn't sound that bad at all, considering it was such a sparsely populated mix to begin with. Um, I mean, it didn't have like a whole lot that was going on at all anyway. So the fact that, sorry, I'm trying to make these a little bit bigger here. There we go. So yeah, the fact that it was sparsely populated and didn't have a lot going on, there's not going to be a lot that you can really do with a mix like that. The EQ on the instrumentation sounded great. I'm assuming it was like a VSTI instrument anyway. So those usually sound really great out of the box. The only thing I could definitely give some critique on is the fact that I don't think it was just loud enough. But other than that, the instrumentation and everything was awesome. I loved it. I think it could have been, you could have utilized the stereo field just a little bit more as well. I was actually expecting maybe to hear some cellos or violins or something coming in on the right and left sides, kind of accentuating that. But other than that, yeah, great work, man. Sounded good. So now we're going to move on to Dean Cutliar. Never Could Believe is the name of this. And he's even got a date attached to it, August 8th of 2020. So we even know when he recorded this. All right, so let's go ahead and take a listen to that. Once more, I'll take my mug off the screen. And there is a purpose for that. Normally, I keep my mug on the screen, I realize. But I'm actually trying to eat lunch at the same time while I'm listening to this. So I'm multitasking. And I don't want you to watch me feed my face while I'm listening. So, all right. So let's go ahead and take a listen to, oh, you're very welcome, Audio Surgeon. I didn't know you was hanging out in here. Cool. Evan, nice to see you, buddy. I seen you hopped on there just a minute ago. Everybody's had a lot of good to say about that submission, Evan, or Audio Surgeon. So keep up the good work, man. Sounded really good. And like most people have already said in the chat too, it definitely sounded like a movie piece. I was picturing like someone walking through the woods and with a flashlight and the whole 9 yards, you know. So let's take a listen to Dean Cutliar's Never Could Believe, and then I'm going to finish my lunch real quick.
Days of my life, that what was happening was all inside my head. And now I have to wait, and I'm just trying with all my might to keep from shattering. See you there again.
Wow. Wow. Great job, man. That was a really cool song. So my critiques for this was I didn't hear enough bass frequencies, and the vocal, I don't know if this was done, stylistically, then ignore what I'm going to say about the vocal, but the vocal seemed to be buried a little bit, almost too much. It did seem to the song itself lend itself to sort of the vocal being a little bit lower, like where you kind of had to lean in, which is not a problem at all. But I think it was so low at times, it just wasn't quite selling me on it. Also, it seemed as if there was like a lack of reverb on instruments and on the vocal itself, not like washed out, crazy pop sounding reverb or anything like that, or even slapback. But it just seemed like there could have been a little bit more use of reverb to create some space for those instruments. They all sounded very dry, almost surgical in a way. But the instrumentation, I loved the swells that kept coming in on the right and left sides. The synths were used very tastefully to sort of sprinkle into the song itself. And wow, it definitely has a lot of potential. It was a really cool song too. So the next one we're going to be listening to is by Diz Disley. Diz started submitting songs a couple of, when was that, July? He might have even got in on the June. Anyway, every time he submits a song, I look forward to listening to it, just simply for the fact that I know it's going to be, I love acoustic guitar. And he's always throwing in these acoustic guitars. They usually sound really good. And they're always upbeat, happy sounding. And it reminds me, honestly, of sort of like the music of my childhood. I listened to a lot of like Fish, The Grateful Dead, The Doors, Jimi Hendrix, a lot of that stuff that was already kind of acoustically driven. Well, not Jimi Hendrix, but a lot of it was acoustically driven. And a lot of it also was just upbeat and happy sounding. And so whenever I listen to Disley's submissions, it's always a treat. So I haven't actually got to listen to this one all the way through. However, it's no, Evan. No, you did just fine. You're just an MP3 file, and that's all I've done is just loaded them in that way. So, anywho, let's go ahead and listen to Diz Disley. He has he's wrote a song called "You Said You Loved Me." So let's check this out. Yep, there it is.
Well, you said you loved me, said that you'd be true. You'd be thinking of me, baby, now. What did you do? Let me down, 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 let me down, 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 let me down, 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 let me down, down, down. Well, don't bother looking for me, 'cause I'll be far away. Heading to the country, baby, now, by the break of day. Now I'll be gone, 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 gone. I'll be gone, gone, gone. I'll be gone, 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 gone. I'll be gone, gone, gone. Well, I'm putting on a reefer, got my guitar on my knee. I'm heading to the country, and I'm looking to be free. Running from the ghetto to a life of open air. Running out to paradise, breathe all that fresh air. Whoa, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Well, I played all over Memphis and the bars of Tennessee. My guitar makes me money, which helps me to be free. Trouble started late one night, fell in love for sure. I gave that woman everything, but she didn't want no more. No more, no more. Whoa, whoa. On Highway 63, I got blood all over me. I couldn't take it anymore, I slashed me to free. Now the bears are on my trail, want me for my crime. But I'm speeding nicely, I'll make the bills time. Whoa, yeah. Whoa, yeah. Oh, yeah. You said you loved me, said that you'd be true. You've been thinking of me, baby, now what did you do? Let me down, 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 let me down, 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 let me down, 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 let me down, down, down. But don't bother looking for me, 'cause I'll be far away. Heading to the country, baby, now about break of day. And I'll be gone, 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 gone. I'll be gone, gone, gone. I'll be gone, 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 gone. I'll be gone, gone, gone.
Wow. I knew I would not be let down. That was an awesome song. So upbeat. And like so many have already said, it keeps your feet moving, keeps your head bobbing. You just get into it. Wow. Great submission. The only thing that I heard in that, which really didn't make that big of a difference because yet again, it was a sparsely populated mix. The only thing that I heard was the guitars themselves seemed like could have been a little bit of work on the low end EQ area. Generally speaking, on guitars around that 250 hertz range is where you want to kind of dip out just a little bit. And I usually do a high pass filter all the way up to about 100 hertz. Now, because it's only guitar, you could get by with putting in a little bit more low end information than normally what you would. But yeah, sounds great. I love the usage of the reverb on your vocals. It just makes it feel like it's live. Sounds really good. If you wouldn't mind, by the way, share in the chat sort of your process, or at least like what microphone you might be using on your acoustic guitar, because it sounds really good. Like, what kind of acoustic guitar is it? What kind of microphone are you using? Or if you could have your wife text that while you're driving. Was it you who was having your wife text? I think it was. I had to scroll back up here, but I think you said, yeah. No, that was Audio Surgeon. Okay. Never mind. Don't have your wife text, because Audio Surgeon was one that had his wife texting for him. Which, by the way, that's a good woman right there. That's a keeper. All right, so next we got Evan Wilson with Can I Decide? So we're going to listen to Evan Wilson's now. And if there's a little bit of a volume change in some of these, like as they start out into where they end up, it's because I'm trying to keep kind of the volume of all of them relatively the same. So I'm adjusting the fader just a little bit to make it sort of the same as the last one. So if you hear like a little bit of a dip or whatever, that's not from the artists themselves. That's usually me trying to make sure that it all is kind of cohesive. So, all right, let's listen to Evan Wilson's Can I Decide? I like that already.
Somehow get myself ahead of the game. I could have saved myself and all of us so much time. I could have spared us so much pain. I know I've been wrong, but can I get it right? After all this time, do I let it go? Do I try to fight for what I think is mine? Do I hang my head in shame? Do I walk away or try to let it ride? Do I give up everything? Do I even know? Can I decide? Can I decide? What's done is done, and the past is gone, and there's nothing I can do to take back anything or everything if I even wanted to. Or I could start today, find another way, and keep it going on. Is it right? Would I ever know it's wrong? Am I messing up again? Or am I getting it right the millionth time around? Can I figure it out? Can I work the answer now with everything I've found? Is there enough to know? Will I ever find the confidence inside? Can I get it right this time? Can I decide? Can I decide? Choice I've made. Can't avoid too long responsibility or a share of the blame when there's so much at stake. I freeze inside and I don't know what to say, but I can't close my eyes and wish my choice away. It's no surprise that I'm paralyzed and I don't know which way to go. And there's no compromise when I analyze. It's either yes or no. Do I give up now? Do I soldier on? Is it even worth the fight? Can I ever know? Can I ever be sure? Can I decide? Can I decide?
Wow. Good job, Evan. That was a great song. The fact that you were the only one playing, that was really awesome too. I loved the bass guitar sound on that. It just sounded punchy. It sounded upfront. But it wasn't dominating. I loved that. The only thing that I could say is, and you've already mentioned it yourself, so you kind of heard it, but there was a little bit too much doubling on the vocal, which could have been cool to kind of sprinkle in at times, like maybe certain phrases, or even just during the chorus. But for it to be like that throughout the whole song was a little bit much. I think the other thing that I heard was, yet again, the drums were a little bit buried, but yet again, not using all of the stereo field to your advantage. And what I mean by that is, like, I noticed that there was like a stab guitar, kind of like a dun-dun, dun-dun. It would have been kind of cool to have that a little bit panned a little bit more to the left or to the right. And then to have the solo come in a little bit more to the right if it was on the left or vice versa. The solo sounded really good. It sounded like it really fit the song well. I would have loved to have heard a little bit more reverb on that, though, just to kind of give it some space. Other than that, though, excellent work. The fact that you did all that by yourself, that you're just a one-man band, I definitely give you kudos for that. I've done that for years. It's not easy. It's very rewarding. And I still get those things where, you tell people, wow, I wrote this song, and you tell them, and they're like, oh, well, who's playing with you? And then you're like, oh, that's me doing the bass, and that's me doing this. And they're like, they kind of look at you like, whatever. So they don't have to believe you though, if you know that you did it, but, very good job. Very good job. So the next up is Herky Acuff, and the song title is Get Into the Good Book. I bet I know what book that is.
Can't fool yourself for only so long. I watch you looking like boulder dash. You could talk the hair right off of a monkey. Oh, come right back here. Where is that? Sunday morning when the soulful people take their hands. Think it, make it happen, action with a beautiful plan. You ain't got a crime to kick it, drop those rings to land. Stick it or snap, who got your back? Oh, hey, Napoleon, sophisticated, mathematical perplexitas. You could chew the fat till all of them cows get home. You come right back, oh yeah, get in the scene. Sunday morning when the soulful people lift their gaze, they get making, reaching certain to the end of the day. You ain't got life to beat it, liquid paper won't defeat it. Set it off, get on the get-go. You wanna get into the good book. 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 No pity party, it's all good. No monologue, it's looking up. You could sing your way into a yellow submarine, but coming up to the top. Papa's saying get your hand out of that old trick bag. There's a lot of people moving from the hateful drag. You just gotta say believe. Your kicks and then just leave. Oh heck, all hands on deck. You wanna get into the good book. 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 You wanna into the good book. You wanna get into the good book. You wanna get into the good book.
Very cool. Very cool song there. So some things that I wanted to point out was the bass guitar seemed, or the bass line, I should say. I don't know if it was actually a bass guitar. It sounded more like a synth, but it just didn't seem like it was fitting right. The line itself, the riff itself sounded great, but the bass guitar itself just didn't set well in the mix. It seemed like it needed to be pushed back a little bit, and there was definitely some like 500 hertz to 700 hertz needed to be cut dramatically, and maybe like a little boost at 1800 kilohertz. Other than that, the song was definitely unique. I liked it, and this is one of those songs, one of the few that I've heard so far that, at least from what I can hear on my headphones, you made good use of the stereo field. So I could definitely hear stuff happening over here that wasn't happening over here. And what that does is, it's not that you have to do that. Don't get me wrong. It's not that you necessarily have to, pan everything like crazy. You can just keep things right down the middle and pan them at certain times. But for the most part, though, that keeps the listener interested. And if you do it tastefully, it can create excitement and generate more interest in the song from beginning to end. I do have to say, though, that at the very beginning, I almost thought this was going to be a cover for another song, just simply because this original intro here. I can see evening in the night. It just sounds like that. How does it go? Here, the secrets that you keep. It just sounded kind of similar to that. Pardon my horrible singing. But yeah, that's fine too. We borrow music and bass lines and riffs from all kinds of stuff all over the place. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, good song. Those are just the few bits of critique that I would give for that. And then honestly, I think there's a little bit too much repetitiveness. If that was the last thing that I would offer up, is just, there needs to be, like, it seems as if the instruments all came in and they stayed in during the whole time, with the exception of that was pretty cool there towards the middle portion here. I think it was like right here. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I like
No
that.
pity party.
Very cool. All right, so let's listen to Joe Howard's Into the Light. And it looks like maybe the album title was Angry Red Planet. Let's check this out. That was a roller coaster of emotional madness. I loved it. Um, Definitely some critiques to offer, but I have to say, honestly, that's been instrumentation wise, mix wise, that's probably been the best track that we've listened to as of yet, and just in my personal opinion. So the critiques for it are as such. I feel like that the EQ, I feel like that the EQ could have been utilized a little bit more to allow separation of instruments, so that there was just so much going on that I feel like if it would have been EQ'd a little bit better, you could have actually been able to definitively hear some of those things that was going on. Whereas the way that it stands now, it's sort of like muddy to the point of like you have to really strain to hear what's going on. And maybe if that's what you're, stylistically going for, you did a great job of it. The bass line, the synths that's used, the interest that is still kept, even though it's essentially the same throughout, because you kept adding so many different things to it. It literally felt like it just kept getting more and more interesting. And then it like built up to this huge crescendo and never stopped. It was like, wow. And then at the very end, I love the subtle use of the whispering and little stuff like that, man. It really makes up some cool songs. We definitely got some love for it here in the chat too. Tim Consley says, reminded me of the psychedelic 60s. Yeah. If you were on some LSD while listening to that, you probably would be flipped out right now. We also have, who else was, Micah said that he really liked it. Said, nice. He just kept saying how nice it was. So great. And then we have some chatter back and forth about, Cakewalk versus BandLab or whatever. Okay. Yeah, so just to answer your question, I hate to even say your name because I'm not making fun of you, Idiot Burns. But just to answer your question, so I have used the phone version of BandLab. In fact, I believe I have it still downloaded. And I've made a few, yeah, it's right here. I've made a few songs on the BandLab version, and I do like it. I like the fact that it's loop-based, that you can just kind of on the fly make. I've actually used it before to make some music beds for some videos just because it's real quick. But the thing is, as far as like using the online version or the BandLab app as my go-to, I can't do that. I've used Cakewalk before it was ever BandLab for years, and it is so powerful. And BandLab, although it is cool to have that online aspect, is lacking in a lot of areas, which they might come up to speed. I don't know. But Cakewalk in and of itself has definitely found an integration with the BandLab, and I could definitely see, like, from your usage, like you said, where you'll upload it to the cloud and then someone will work on it and download it back. That's cool. And in fact, I probably need to look a little bit deeper into that. I could probably utilize that for individuals who are using Cakewalk by BandLab as well. So, but yeah, I have a couple songs on my BandLab account that I have created with solely the BandLab app because I wanted to get more acclimated to it, knowing that this isn't just Cakewalk anymore. It's now Cakewalk by BandLab. And so because those two are married, I wanted to get more used to that side of it. And it definitely has a lot of cool features. I love some of the loop packs that you can download. And so I'm not necessarily disregarding it, but if you want to do some serious music, you always have to come back to Cakewalk, I believe, at least as of right now. So yeah, it's definitely a good tool for meeting more musicians to work with, for sure, especially those that would be using the same DAW. All right, so coming up next is, now I'm pretty sure I've already listened to this. No, maybe not. I'm not sure if I have. Anyway, this is by Mark George. The song is The Other Side of Sound. Now, I knew instantly that last song, whenever it started playing, that Mark was going to comment and be like, ooh, this is nice, because Mark is a synth guy. And so immediately, yes, he did. He loved it. So I'm only I'm only setting you up for the fact that I know we're going to hear some awesome synth music right here. So let's go ahead and give this a listen. Ooh. Nice. Wow, Mark, a little bit off the beaten path, but it sounds good, man. Wow, I like it. Oh, yeah. Love the vibe of this, man. Wow. My goodness. Mark. Oh my goodness. Dude, that was phenomenal. That was absolutely stinking phenomenal. Okay, I gotta take that back now. This track here has got to be the best mix that I've listened to all day. That was amazing. Wow. Was that you playing guitar, by the way? I need to know, because that sounded really good. You had a good guitar tone there too. The whole change ups, the instrumentation, the building, the drums sounded awesome. I loved that. Like someone else had said here, it had that, actually it was Tim. Yeah. He said it had that sort of, I can feel it in the air tonight kind of, man, it was great. Absolutely amazing. I'm trying to find a critique for it, and I don't know, don't really know what much to say other than the bass could have been a little bit punchier. I know whenever I did your mix critique that you sent me, that's the one thing that I felt like was lacking on that too, was just the bass frequencies needed to be a little bit more present. So maybe what you ought to do is, I don't know what you're using to mix on, but maybe using a reference track with, you know, with something like with a little bit more bassy frequencies. So it's all contact libraries. Oh my goodness. Scott, it needs more cowbell. Oh man. But no, honestly though, in all honesty, wow. I cannot get past the fact that, dude, you have come so far. I hate to keep gushing like this, but man, that mix, like, that's good stuff. All right. Anyway, we got to move on now. Honestly, the only critique I got for you, buddy, was just the bass frequencies need to come up a little bit. Also, the acoustic guitar sounded a little tinny, which is kind of supposed to, but it sounded almost too tinny. Just a little bit of EQ work on that to knock off the high end frequencies and give it a little bit more body. Other than that, man, that was spot on. All right, Mark Bergstaller has submitted When It All Goes Down. If I remember correctly, Mark has actually worked on this in concert with another individual. And, oh, please, Mark, it's not all my teaching, it's your talent. So, Randall Hibbard, nice to have you, buddy. This is being recorded, so you can always go back and check out what you might have missed, Randall. But, oh, man, you just missed an awesome, awesome mix by Mark George. And I have no doubt that Mark Bergstaller's mix is going to be awesome as well. Mark is a phenomenal guitarist. His work, if you've ever listened to any of his submissions, you already know it's going to be super spot on. So let's go ahead and take a listen to Mark Bergstaller's When It All Goes Down.
You've been dragging my name all over town. try to let it go. 'Cause you'll never really see, and you'll never know. It's a web of lies. Time you realize when it all goes down. Who's to blame when your stars fall to the ground? When it all goes down, don't you know that the wheel always comes around? When it all goes down. When it all goes down. Who's to blame when your stars fall to the ground? When it all goes down. Don't you know that the wheel always comes back around? When it all goes down. When it all goes down.
Okay. Awesome song, man. I loved the lyrics and the guitar work. The only thing that it seems like it had so much potential, it was just lacking because it sounded like to me, yet again, we keep running into this issue that it had a stereo widening plugin slapped on it, which caused those bass frequencies to sound wide, but they sounded weak. And so there was a lot of, I also heard like maybe some Melodyne or auto-tune or something on the vocal on a couple of parts that it didn't quite sound right. The guitar work though, and all of the instrumentation was absolutely beautiful. I just feel like if it sounded almost like someone had slapped ozone on there and tried to master it themselves and completely just tried to blow up the stereo field. And that's why I pulled up a couple of different plugins here to see. One of the first ones that I pulled up under my visual tab here was the Gonometer. And basically what this does is it shows you your stereo field and how wide something is in the stereo field. Like if I was to play this now, so you can see this white line here represents, here, let me zoom in. This white line right here represents like how wide the song was. And as you can see, like it was incredibly wide, which lets me know that probably a stereo widening plugin was used. Now, apart from even the visual aspect of that, I could hear that there was just something not quite right. Whenever you hear like a lack of bass definition, that's usually because someone has put a stereo widening plugin on there. And because they're wanting to get that wide studio sound, which I have said time and time again, if you want to get a wide sound, it comes down to your instrumentation. It comes down to your arrangement and how you're panning your instruments. You can get a huge, vastly wide sound if you leave your bass in the middle and don't pan it and don't cause it to try to sound wide. You'll get a wider sound from that because you're amplifying a mono signal which inhabits both sides of the stereo field to begin with. And then when you start panning things around, that's where the width comes in. So the song itself, man, was awesome. Those are some of my critiques for it. I really feel like if it would have had just that extra little care taken of the mix itself, instead of trying to slap a stereo widening plugin on there, I think it would have went a lot farther. But the song, man, was amazing. In fact, I would love to take a stab at trying to fix that, because I think that could be that's like a radio ready song right there. The other plugin that I brought up here was called Span. I've talked about this before on other podcasts as well as shows here. In fact, when I did my live mixing session, I actually pulled this up for the visual aid of it. As much as I don't like using visual aids unless I absolutely have to, when I get to the final stages of a mix, I always will pull up the Span plugin just simply because it lets me see everything sort of from a bird's eye view. And it has this really cool, what is called a correlation meter, which you'll see right here. So this correlation meter will allow me to see if things are in phase or out of phase. And what I noticed about this particular song as it was playing as well is it was hovering around this area right here, which means it was in phase. But because it wasn't all the way up here, means it was not perfectly in phase, which lets me know that there was probably a phase inversion, which usually happens when you put a stereo widening plug-in on something. You get this phase inverted sound, and then that plug-in will pitch shift those, or not pitch shift, but time shift those by like 14 to 24 samples, and that's what gives you your quote-unquote wide sound. But this is a free plug-in from Voxenjo. In fact, I think I might even be able to find a link straight from within this. Yeah. Well, look at that. And there you go. So it actually let me find the link to span within the plugin itself. So I went ahead and posted that into the chat so that you can actually go and check that out. If you do not have it, I would definitely recommend going and getting it, just simply for the fact that it is an awesome visual representation of what's going on in your mix, and it's free. In fact, while you're there, there's a ton of other free plugins that you can get your hands on that are absolutely amazing. So Mark Bergstaller, yet again, awesome submission. Loved the song. Just take the stereo widening plugin off there, and I think a little bit of panning, and you can fix that. You can make that sound really, really good. All right, we are on our last submission already, and this is Tim Consley's submission. Can We Get Back? Let's take a listen.
So far from you, how did we get our life so far off track? Lord, we need to have our hearts renewed. We need to find our way. Get back to where we lay down our lives. Can we get back? No token prayers, no compromise. Can we get back to the sharing of His word? Until everyone has heard, can we get back? How did we get so far from you? How did we get our life so far off track? Lord, we need to have our hearts renewed. We need to find our way. Get back to where we lay down our lives. Can we get back? No token prayers, no compromise. Can we get back to the sharing of His word? Until everyone has heard, can we get back to where we lay down our lives? Can broken prayers. No compromise. Can we get back to the sharing of His word until everyone has heard? Can we get back? Can we get back? Oh, can we get back?
Awesome. Awesome. Very, very good job. Loved the song. Very relaxing, very mellow. Loved the lyrics and the message behind it. That was really good. So some things that I would offer up for this one was that the guitar sounded just a little muddy with this. The fact that there was no bass guitar in it, it actually almost kind of didn't matter because it kind of created the bass frequencies that needed to be there. But it just wasn't as defined, I think, as it could have been, because there was it was like a picking. And I think if it would have been more defined, we could have actually heard the picking a little bit better. Just a little bit of EQ work then on that guitar. Also on the vocals, the lead vocals, I noticed that there was like some, like I'm making right now, actually, I keep hearing it, it's driving me nuts, these lip smacking noises. I didn't hear it, like it wasn't driving me nuts on your song, but I definitely could hear it at times. And so I think a little bit of editing on the vocals would have helped tremendously just to kind of clean that up, make it sound a little more professional. Other than that, the song sounded really good. And I thought you might have, Mark, I thought you won a t-shirt. Or no, that wasn't you. I'm sorry. That was someone else. Okay. Sorry about that, Mark. I just seen your name and I was thinking, I thought he won a t-shirt. Has he got it yet? So anyway, Tim, why does the bass boom on my end? So on your end, it may be based off of whatever you're listening on. I'm not sure what you're listening through. But I specifically listen through these headphones when I listen to these submissions because these are very accurate. And so usually this is a good representation of what I would hear in my car or what I would hear at on a boom box or something like that. It's kind of a well-rounded representation. So whenever I make decisions based off of people's mixes, it's usually a pretty fair, like I'm not listening through one certain set of speakers that color the sound like crazy. And I tell you, oh yeah, your bass sounds good because these are, 20-inch speakers that have lots of bass. So who knows? But nonetheless, the fact that wherever you're at, it sounds boomy, it might just be what you're listening through. So I know on my end, it didn't sound too bad. Like I said, though, the bass frequencies were, because there was no bass guitar, it seemed as if it really didn't matter as much. But they did still seem kind of muddy, which I think is probably what you're hearing, Tim, whenever you hear that. All right, so excellent submissions by everybody. I have to say that everybody did some awesome, awesome submissions. And it's going to be very hard to pick a winner. So I could just go ahead and say, all right, I'm going to pick a winner right now. However, I've got some thinking to do. So stick around on the community tab. By tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to give all of these another listen. And by tomorrow afternoon, I would say for sure, I will have a bona fide winner. So Stephen Presley, I think this is your first time here. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen is here. I believe this is his first time. Welcome, Steve. Nice to see you, buddy. But yeah, it's going to be very hard for me to pick a winner this time around, just simply because there's so many great submissions and so much talent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of the day and a little bit of tomorrow and really listen to these in depth and try my best to, of course, it's always fair. I always try to base it off of not just who it is or if they've played my favorite song or my favorite instrument, but based off of everything as a whole, the mix, the instrumentation, everything as a whole. So I don't have a panel of judges to help me out this time. So this one's going to be pretty hard. So stick around on the community tab of the YouTube channel, and I'll be posting the results of that tomorrow afternoon. I'd say around noon, just to be fair. So that would be Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So it'll be noon on my end, and that is -4 in Greenwich Mean Time, whatever that means for you. The whole time zone thing is like crazy, trying to schedule these things to where everybody can actually be on here, and it's not like 3 a.m. where you're from or something crazy. But once again, man, thanks everybody for all the awesome submissions. You have made my job hard today. I've got at least 3 right now that I know for sure, like, are on my top 3. I'm not going to say who they are. But if you've watched, you probably already kind of know. But nonetheless, it's going to be hard to pick a winner. So thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. Every time you show up, it's a good time. I love your all's attitude and your helpfulness and willingness to give good constructive criticism in the chat as well. It really does help. And I love the fact too that you guys are like complimenting the good. That is so major. When you're an artist, and especially whenever you're putting yourself out there. Hey, Mark, buddy, we just listened to your song. Excellent song, man. That was awesome. I did offer a few critiques for it. You can go back and watch that here in a little bit, because this has been recorded, so it's definitely going to be viewable. But I was just telling the gang here, man, everybody did an awesome job. Great submissions. And the fact that when people bare their soul and they put these songs out there, it's hard as a musician to do that, because there's all that fear factor of, are they going to like it? What's going to be said? Was it good enough? And the fact that you guys in the chat are always like, oh, I love the guitars. I love the instrumentation. Just that little bit of a shot in the arm sometimes is what a musician is really looking for. We don't need like over the top, like, oh, wow, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Sometimes just, hey, man, those guitars sound really great is awesome. And so you guys have just done an amazing job yet again. All of the submissions, all 9 of them this time, were absolutely amazing. And like I said, it's going to be very hard to pick a winner. So come tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, I will announce on the community tab of the YouTube channel. So make sure that you're subscribed, for one, that you have the bell icon for the notification bell. You've got that ticked so that you'll actually see whenever I make that post. And then thirdly, if you haven't liked this video yet, go ahead and like this video. That lets YouTube know that whatever we're doing over here is actually worthwhile. And it'll help other people to find these kind of videos too. So before we go, however, we got to do something that we haven't done yet. And for those of you who are new here, this may seem a little weird. For those of you that have been around for quite some time, you know what time it is. It's time to spin the wheel of awesomeness. Ladies and gentlemen, the wheel of awesomeness. That's right. For those of you who are new, basically we spin this wheel. Wherever the wheel lands, we just listen to the wheel. The wheel tells us what to do. Okay. It's like our boss right now. So let's go ahead and spin this bad boy. Let's see what comes up. And it is trivia. Nice. So we've landed on a little bit of trivia. So we'll go back to the chat screen here, and I'm going to try to pull up some trivia for y'all. So in the midst of all of this, I want to let you guys know that this show exists because of generous individuals much like yourself. So thank you guys so much for showing up all the time, just being awesome. And for some reason, my chat box is not showing up. That's beautiful. So I'm going to try to fix that. Let's see here. Chat box. Okay. Let's copy that. This is the beauty of live shows. Stuff like this happens. And then all you have to do is just kind of grin and bear it. So, all right. And did that work? There it goes. Oh, wow. Like everything's popping up all at once. There we go. Hello, Mr. Wheel, Mark George says. Okay, so while I'm pulling up this trivia, I want to let you guys know, too, that I am currently working on. For those of you who have been around here for a little bit, then you know I've already kind of made mention of this. I'm on module 4 of the Ultimate Cakewalk by BandLab tutorial course. This thing is going to be massive. And the cool thing about it is actually going to be featured on Warren Hewitt's Produce Like a Pro channel. So Warren actually reached out to me and he said, I haven't got anything on Cakewalk by BandLab yet. Would you be so kind as to make the Ultimate Cakewalk by BandLab tutorial course? To which I nearly had to pick my jaw up off the floor and said, abso-stinkin-lutely. So I'm currently in the making of getting this course together for Warren, which is going to be available on the Produce Like a Pro website. And he's going to be selling that. And then 50% of the proceeds will actually come back to me. So I'll get to make a little bit of bank off of that as well. But this is going to be like the most in-depth Cakewalk tutorial course. I'm trying to go above and beyond because of, for one, who's actually offering this to me. I'm trying to go above and beyond to make sure that I just completely blow Warren's socks off with this. So it is going to be literally like the most in-depth, we're talking like 4 to 5 hour course. And the cool thing is too, you're going to get a awesome set of multi-tracks to download with it that you can mix along with me. And you can add these to your portfolio. I've already talked to the artist. It's an amazing song. It was actually one that was submitted on a previous song contest. I reached out to her father and found out it was her father that had submitted it. And he was absolutely like, yes, get a hold of her. Let's see what the big deal is here. So I got a hold of her and she's like, absolutely, you can use the song. People can take it, remix it, change up whatever they want. It doesn't matter. I want to make sure that you get to use this song. So very, very cool. And then basically, whenever you get that, you get the multi-tracks, you get to add this to your portfolio. You're going to get the Pro Start template to go with it. You're going to get a crazy amount of modules to go back. And every single one of these modules is going to have a free PDF download that goes with it to help accentuate each one of the training modules. So if I talk about something that's a little bit kind of like in depth, you're going to have a PDF download that you can always go back to and kind of look at that as well. And you're also going to get a huge PDF document that is the Ultimate Cakewalk by BandLab reference guide. So this thing is huge. It's got everything you could ever want to know about Cakewalk by BandLab in it. It's going to be a value of all values, not to mention you're also going to be helping to support me as well as Warren's community. So the trivia question, what band did Jimi Hendrix tour with in 1967? That is the question. What band did Jimi Hendrix tour with in 1967? Oop. Randall Hibbard says Mikey's. Okay, he's corrected it. He says monkeys. All right, anyone else got a good guess? James Brown. Ooh. His own The Experience. That's a good guess, Zave, because that would actually be that would be a little bit too tricky for me, though. That's not my standards. I'm not that tricky. Little Richard. Okay. I don't know. The Doors. Oh, that's a good guess. Okay, so time is up. The answer to this trivia today was Jimmy managed to get through a total of only 7 dates with the Monkees. So very good job, Randall Hibbard. You hit the nail on the head. First one with the right answer. It culminated in his final show on July 17th of 1967, which may or may not have ended with Hendrix saluting the crowd with his middle finger. So there's some useful trivia for you there. Awesome. So thank you guys so much once again for showing up, for being awesome people. You guys just, every time we get on here, I have a good time, and you all just rock, generally speaking, anyway. So let's give some shout outs real quick. So here are some awesome individuals who have taken their sweet time to hit that subscribe button. Thank you all so very much. These are the most recent subscribers to the channel. I'm getting on average now about 230 subscribers a week. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Keep sharing the videos, keep sharing the love, and keep bringing people back to the community. Obviously, the more people that we get in this community, the more people that we have to learn from. And we have definitely been doing that. I have learned so much from you guys, and I hope that you've learned something from me as well. In the meantime, I want to let you, all of you know, that there have been a lot of changes that have been happening in the world, and a lot of them are good and a lot of them are bad. But I want to let you know that regardless of the situations that the world is facing right now, you still have a community here. This can be a safe place, regardless of your race, regardless of your gender, regardless of your orientation in life, regardless of what your political standings are, regardless of your religious standings. I'm an individual who has always tried to find a middle ground with individuals, and I have created, in my personal opinion, one of the most helpful, most awesome communities around, and that's each and every one of you. And whenever I tell you guys that I love you, I truly mean that, regardless of who you are, of how long I've known you. I have that capacity within me. It's a God-given gift, I guess, to just be able to, I just love people, and I love each and every one of you. And I want to let you know that regardless of whatever is going on in this world right now, it's going to be okay. Eventually, we are going to get through this, but we're going to get through it together. And so thank you guys for showing up and just being yourselves. I don't ask anyone to show up and be anyone else. In fact, it's been really hard for me the first couple of months of doing this, just simply for the fact of knowing that it's hard for anyone these days to try and be themselves because there's so much pressure for everyone to be someone else. But the fact that you guys are being yourselves and you're allowing me to be myself, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. And Jack Fisher, who just commented something very, very rude. You know what? I refuse to even answer that question. And if you're unsubbing now because of what I just said, bye. Been nice knowing you, Jack. So anyway, hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. All right. So, I won't tell you guys what he just said because luckily the Streamlabs moderator has hit it and not allowed it to show. So, Jack Fisher, I really appreciate the fact that you just dropped that little comment there. You're an awesome guy. Evidently, you need some prayer, buddy, because that was just rude. But yes, I'll say it again. I love each and every one of you. And if that made Jack mad, I'm sorry, Jack. I love you too, buddy. So until next time, guys, you all have a wonderful day. And until next time, we'll talk to each and every one of you later. Remember, this channel exists to simplify the complexities of the home studio and to help you make professional sounding music in a less than professional space. We can dream alone, we can create alone, but together we can achieve so much more.